All right, let's get into this. What we're doing today is something of an intellectual salvage mission. We're digging up a forgotten story, a parable, that was pretty much deliberately buried in the margins of history. And its central question? Well, it's maybe more relevant today than ever before.
You know, some ideas are they're too much, too challenging, too inconvenient for the people in charge. So what happens? They get hidden away, right? They become this sort of forbidden knowledge. And that's exactly where we're going. We're taking a journey right into those suppressed archives to pull out a powerful worldview that someone really, really wanted us to forget.
So, where are we headed exactly? The source material has this incredible name for it, the shadowlands of human thought. It's this place that exists completely outside of conventional history. Just think about that for a second. It's like a repository for worldviews that were rejected, ideas that were suppressed because they threatened to shake things up a little too much.
It's like these philosophies were never even given a chance to grow. They were cut down before they could really bloom, and all that's left are these fragmented whispers, just little hints of a totally different way of thinking that the establishment was absolutely terrified of. And that's our mission here, to piece those fragments back together and see what picture they make.
Okay, so let's set the scene for this parable. I want you to picture a civilization that's governed by one single, rigid truth, no exceptions. And at the very heart of it all, there's the Temple of Order. But this isn't a place for exploration or discovery. No. It's a monument to safety, to control. And who's in charge of this temple? A high priest, a Pharisee. And he embodies something the source material calls the spirit of contempt. And this isn't just, being a little cautious. This is a deep, fundamental contempt for risk, for potential, for everything that makes life messy and unpredictable. He's the architect of this beautiful golden cage, and he's the voice whispering in everyone's ear, just play it safe, follow the law, don't you dare step out of line. So to prove just how perfect and safe his system is, the Pharisee comes up with this grand spectacle. He's going to walk a tightrope. But, and this is where it gets really interesting, there's a twist, a big one. The wire isn't stretched over some deep, dark, dangerous abyss. It's stretched over an uncanny mirror. The entire floor is made of perfectly polished silver, and all it reflects is the boring, stagnant, unchanging ceiling of the temple.
And this setup, it just perfectly captures the entire philosophy here. On one side, you have the traditional tightrope walk, right? That's all about mastering risk, about staring into the void and striving to become something more. But the Pharisees' walk, that's the complete opposite. The point isn't to master anything. The point is denial. He's trying to prove that if you just follow the law perfectly, the abyss, the risk, that whole void, well, it doesn't even exist. It's all just an illusion.
This whole spectacle, it was meant to be the ultimate triumph of a totally risk-free life. I mean, imagine a world where a pre-written script tells you exactly what to do every single step of the way. A world where the law is so absolute, it literally holds you up even when you're walking on a thin wire. That's the goal. That's what you get when a society decides to trade real meaning for a sense of comfort.
So, the moment arrives. The crowd is gathered. The Pharisee takes that first step onto the wire. He looks down. But there's no jeering crowd, no court jester there to mock him. There's just himself, his own reflection, staring back at him from that uncanny mirror. And right there, in that one moment, everything is about to change.
So you have to ask yourself, what could he possibly have seen? What could be so devastating in your own reflection? I mean, this guy is the symbol of perfect order. He's the master of the law. What on earth did that mirror show him?
Well, the mirror didn't reflect some hero conquering the abyss. It didn't show a man striding towards some higher state, an overman. No, it showed him what he really was, a prisoner. A man literally tethered to his own shadow, just walking in a perfect, empty circle that he himself had built. He wasn't going anywhere. He was just performing a sterile, meaningless ritual. And in that one instant, poof, the whole illusion of safety just shattered. That polished silver floor, it wasn't solid ground. It offered no real support at all. He didn't fall into a physical abyss. He fell into a conceptual one. This sudden, absolutely terrifying awareness that all his rigid laws, everything he built his life on, were just a fragile little rope stretched over a profound meaninglessness he'd spent his whole life trying to deny.
So, what happened next? Well, this is where our salvage mission turns into a real historical investigation. Because according to the sources we have, the authorities intentionally suppressed the rest of the story. They buried it. Why? Because what it revealed was just way too dangerous for their power.
And this parable was lost for a few really key reasons.
First, it suggested that the people who scream the loudest about having the truth are usually the ones most terrified of life's uncertainty. It also threatened the entire system. But maybe the most damning part, the public's reaction? They weren't sympathetic, they were just annoyed. Annoyed that the show didn't go according to plan. And let's be honest, that's a feeling we can probably all recognize. That deep, uncomfortable feeling when our cozy illusions get shattered.
But there was one person there who got it. Just one. A solitary seeker. Someone who had wandered in from those shadowlands of human thought we talked about earlier. And he saw the whole thing go down.
And the seeker had this profound realization. He understood that the real tragedy wasn't that the Pharisee fell. The real tragedy was the audience. It was their complete failure to see that the priest was a living, breathing symbol of a struggle that belongs to all of us. Our own attempts to build systems to protect us from the void.
So right then and there, the seeker decides he's got to find a new kind of community, a different kind of person. Not the Pharisees, who just blindly follow the rigid law, and not the indifferent crowd who just want to be entertained. No, he was looking for a third group, companions who were brave enough to look right into that same uncanny mirror themselves.
And just like that, this whole salvage story comes right back around to us, doesn't it? The parable ends by taking that mirror and turning it right on you and on me. And it leaves us with one last provocative question. Are we brave enough to look past all the shiny, polished surfaces in our own lives and acknowledge the abyss underneath? The very abyss that might just be what gives it all meaning?